Greetings and salutations, beautiful souls. It is always my pleasure to hit that record button and speak to you. And today's video is going to be about staying calm, cool, collected in chaotic times such as these times. I think most of you can agree that the year 2020 and this year 2021, how it's shaping up, these 2 years particularly are, for most of you, certainly for me, the most chaotic years in your living memory. Some of you guys might have a different perspective on that. Some of you might have lived through some times that seemed just as chaotic, if not more. But I think most of you can agree that these times, since the beginning of 2020, the whole thing with Coco, these are chaotic times. So, how do you stay grounded? How do you stay collected? How do you stay calm? Not necessarily happy, not necessarily ecstatic, right? But just calm, collected. It's hard to be happy and ecstatic if you live somewhere where they've been locking you down for a year, right? And everyone's wearing masks and you gotta wear masks, da-da-da-da-da. Can't even get in a supermarket without a mask, It's hard to be ecstatic, hard to be happy, but it is always possible to remain calm, cool, and collected. So, how do you do that in such chaotic times? Well, first of all, understand that this is easier said than done. Everything I'm going to say in this video is easier said than done. You might be like, oh wow, that's true, right? But when it comes to applying this, it's more difficult, okay? So, this is the perspective I want to offer. Take it as it is. Don't try to force it too much. Just recognize it as a perspective, meditate on it, contemplate on it, okay? It always helps to look at things from a third-person perspective. The more you can be a watcher, the more you can be an observer, the more you can see things objectively, the more you can zoom out, the more clarity you have on a particular thing. So an example that I used before, but it is spot on and it gets the point across. Let's say you're sitting on a balcony, right? Or standing on a balcony, let's say. So you're standing on a balcony and you're observing, you're looking down, right? And you see two cars coming. One car is coming from the street to your right, and one car is coming from the street right in front of you. And there is a sort of a corner like this. Okay, now those two cars are coming and they're driving fast. They're playing the game. If this was a game, they're first person. They're playing the game first person. They're driving the car. They're not seeing that there's another car coming, and if you don't stop as the first person player, you're gonna hit that car, because that one car's coming like this, the other's coming like this, and they're gonna turn and they're gonna crash into each other. They don't know. Both drivers do not know of the existence of the other driver, driving just as fast, having the same, or being just as ignorant about the existence of the other driver. Okay? Whereas you on the balcony, right? You're looking and you're like, oh shit, they're about to crash, right? Because you could see what's happening, right? You could see. Think of the cars as chess pieces, and you're the chess player on the balcony. So if you had superpowers, you could sort of send telepathic messages to one of the drivers or both the drivers, say, stop, there's another car. And the driver may not believe you, right? Like, no, what? I don't see, there's no car. But you could see it, you could see it because you're on the balcony. So it helps to be on the balcony of life, because you naturally see things more objectively, and so that tends to keep you more calm, cool, and collected. So, what is happening? I made a previous video, very recent one. What is going on planet Earth? What's happening on planet Earth, right? So in the video, I said that there is this ascension process. The planet is going to fourth density, the density of love and understanding. And the drama, if you will, the game is playing itself out. So there is a perspective where you completely zoom out and you see things from God's perspective. And from that perspective, something scary but true is that in the grand scheme of things, nothing matters. In the grand scheme of things, this is an illusion, this designed for souls to evolve back to source. It's an illusion. So all of us think we're individual, all of us think we're like an individual separate self, but in reality it's one consciousness. So really nothing matters, because eventually everyone comes back to source anyway. Everyone evolves anyway. Like the programming of the game is that every soul comes back to itself, comes back to the source, comes back to, it finishes the evolution, if you will. But the thing is, of course, you know, everything just resets and goes on for infinity. So, but the bottom line is, from that grand perspective, nothing matters. From that grand perspective. But you cannot, this is critical, guys, you cannot only adopt that perspective and say, well, nothing matters, so it's okay. You know, I'm not gonna do anything about it, right? There's these pedos and Saturnists controlling the world, right? And committing all these crimes, but it doesn't matter, because everybody eventually goes back to source anyway, right? Even they, you know, even they, the dark side of the force, even they, the dark ones, they eventually have to come back to the source at some point in their evolution. It's an illusion anyway. I mean, death is just it's an illusion, right? It's just you don't die. The soul doesn't die, right? So yeah, it's like saying death doesn't matter, right? It's just a continuation. Everything just continues. Everything just goes on. So it doesn't matter. Come on. I mean, who cares? They're killing people. I mean, who cares? You cannot only adopt that perspective. Otherwise, you also lose track of the nature of the game, because the nature of the game is paradoxical. You are one, but you're separate. You're immoral, meaning it's no good, no bad, nothing matters, and yet everything matters, and there's good and there's bad. So you gotta live in the paradox. So if you're living on only one side of the paradox, if you're really caught up in what's happening, like the actual things on ground, right? Oh, this election stuff, this, that. If you're only caught up in that, but you're not adopting at the same time, simultaneously, you're not adopting that other perspective, which is, nothing matters, it's all perfect, everything moves in cycles anyway, and it's God's will, and there's God's will in everything. At the same time as saying, well, the world is really bad and I gotta do something about it. If you're not in both levels at the same time simultaneously, you're missing the point. Because if you're at one level saying, well, these are really bad people controlling the world, committing atrocities, I'm gonna do something about it. And you get really emotional about it, like really super emotional, and you get caught in it and you forget that it's an illusion, and it's sort of a game, actually, hide and seek game, God finding itself. You get caught up in the emotions, you won't be calm, you won't be collected. How can you be? You're so caught up, you're so emotional about everything. You're gonna find it difficult to get caught, to stay emotional, to stay grounded, okay? To stay calm, to stay collected. On the other end of it, if you're only adopting one side of the paradox, and you're saying, well, nothing matters, it's all perfect, because all is perfect, right? You know, from God's perspective, it's all perfect. Everything is perfect, good and evil, and all of it is a perfect, predetermined game. And every soul starts from this level, comes back to itself, and the game resets. Then you say, I'm not gonna do anything. You just become a pacifist, nothing. I mean, it's all perfect. Why should I interfere, right? Why should I do anything? It's because the universe calls upon you to do something, because there's polarization. That's part of the soul's evolution. But if you're only on one side of it, nothing matters. You're Mr. or Mrs. Detached, right? I'm detached, right? Detachment, right? You miss the point also, because the universe calls upon you to take sides in the game, yet knowing that it's an illusion, a game, a hide and seek game, and it's all perfect. So if you're living on both sides of the paradox, and that takes skill, okay, it really is easier said than done. But if you're living on both sides of the paradox, you can play your role, what the Hindus would call your dharma, right? Like, I have a dharma. My dharma is to make videos. My dharma is to speak truth. My dharma is to look for lies and deception and expose it and bring about truth. That's my dharma. That's my role. That's my duty. And I do it, and I do it faithfully, and I do it to the best of my ability. But at the same time, if I don't keep that cosmic perspective, like it's all perfect, it's all the law of one, right? In the law of one, all is one. It's all perfect. It's all beautiful. Everyone's God. It's a beautiful game. Everyone's evolving in an illusionary game. It's a hide and seek game, and everyone returns to source. then I can stay calm and collected as I am performing my duty and playing my role in Team Light. I'm a polarized entity. I'm polarized towards the light. I cannot stand deception. I cannot stand falsehood. I'm polarized in that way. But how do I remain calm, collected, and cool? Is to keep that cosmic perspective. Okay? Nothing matters. Ultimately, everyone returns to source. It's a hide and seek game. Everyone evolves. You know. Another thing about the problem with just adopting the detached perspective, there is karma. Cause and effect is part of the illusion. And so you may be like, I'm detached, I'm not gonna do anything, but actually you're part of the karmic cycle of the illusion. You see? So you may say, I'm not gonna do anything, and then you let the dark ones rule the world, and then it's gonna be your karma because of your inaction. You're gonna be living in a world run by those dark forces. Because you say, I'm detached, it's all perfect, I'm not gonna do anything. But you're part of the karma in the illusion. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna live in a dark world, because of your inaction, because everything is perfect and I'm detached. So this is, in my humble perspective, how you stay calm, collected, and cool in such chaotic times. To remember that everything is perfect. Just do your thing, right? What's your thing? Do your thing, all of you guys watching this are polarized towards Team Light. There's a polarization there, and that happens. It's natural part of the evolution of the soul. You see? So you do what you gotta do. Okay? You play your role. You promote truth, promote peace, promote wisdom, promote love. And remember that it's all perfect. And remember that it's a hide and seek game. It is a game at the end of the day. Okay? All is God, all is one, all is perfect. Okay? So hopefully that helps. Okay, again, I know it's easier said than done. It's very easy to say beautiful things, and it's more difficult to implement them. Okay, so take that as you may, contemplate on it, meditate on it, and hopefully you guys, if you're looking to be calm, collected, cool in these chaotic times, this can provide a perspective. Okay. All right. So thank you to all the Patreons for your support. Thank you to all the generous people that send us the one-time donations on PayPal. Kisses to all of you guys. I love you. I am so appreciative of you. Thank you so much. If you'd like to donate, you'd like to either join the Patreon or just do one-time donations. If you get a couple of $1 million to spare, we are definitely open to receiving. Okay. So, links are in the description, and God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video.